Jaideep, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Kapil forgot why he was dropped. I remember he hit 4 consecutive sixes and he was out the next ball. The BCCI felt that he was too big for his boots. Another gentleman opened the innings for India in a 60-over match and got 60 not out in 36 overs. 36 not out in 60 overs. The board felt that his shoes were too big for them. We're here to talk about Raj Singh. I've heard a lot of stuff spoken about match fixing. I think I'd like to talk a little bit about my dear friend and also about the BCCI. I'm not particularly critical of the BCCI because I've been a part of it, at least on the periphery. For Raj Singh, cricket was a larger-than-life effort. Actually, a lot of things that Raj Singh had were larger than life, including his appetite. He had special other loves also. One was wildlife photography, and the other was nipping into casinos whenever he could. These passions were to some extent or the other well shared by the one lady in his life. Lataji, of course, didn't eat too well, but she kept an impeccable table. Raj Singh would have been missed, actually, now by the BCCI. He was a go-between between the shy members of the BCCI and some of the more stalwart or solid administrators in England and Australia. The other point really I want to talk about is Raj Singh, not only the way he loved his cricket, but most importantly how he helped others. He was a friend of many cricketers. He advised them, and many he helped financially. When, if you recall, Bobby Will, Kerry Packer arrived on the scene, going back a few years, there was a huge shake-up in world cricket administration. Actually, Kerry Packer wasn't particularly interested in shaking up the world. He was more interested in his Channel 9 and getting a level playing field. But at that time, India and Indian cricket earned a huge amount of goodwill and gratitude. Not a single Indian cricketer went to Packer, while the English captain himself was surreptitiously recruiting for Kerry. Not only that, but India was host to a number of what I suppose would be called second-rate teams, but to full houses. A lot of money was made and it was shared between the countries, and cricket survived. Whether that goodwill still continues with the BCCI, I'm not quite sure. Today, the BCCI is facing a crisis. It has got involved in the complexities and the complications of IPL and the debris left behind by Mr. Lalit Modi. The world is watching how well it can climb out of this mess. The other point that I want to make, discussed here, about match fixing and the kind of danger and the kind of threat that this poses to Indian cricket and world cricket. A few days ago or a few weeks ago, some Pakistani players quite blissfully and allegedly, I must say, were caught spot fixing. Well, that was fine. That is Pakistan. That's the ICC. But everybody said that the money emanated from India. Well, that is an accusation which hurts, but it rings true. especially for those of us who live in this country and have been reading about the scams that have taken place in the last few days, the last few weeks, it's quite possible to believe the kind of money that is generated illegally in this country. In my paper day before yesterday, a bookie was nabbed by the police. The paper said that 500 crore was its turnover, and it continued to say that there were many like him. The ICC has in place various rules and regulations regarding corruption. But what can it do about India? What can the BCCI do? People have mentioned that it's the players' responsibility. The players can be misled easily. Many senior policemen have told me that the laws of illegal gambling are so vague and so weak in this country that they really can't do very much about it. Now, the BCCI itself, you will know, has several central cabinet ministers. It has leaders in the opposition. It can certainly lobby for more stringent laws. Lobbying continues in this country, as indeed it does everywhere in the world. So is the BCCI stepping forward? The BCCI, which generates 70% of the income in world cricket and 80% of the viewership, does it also give any leadership to world cricket? The ICC may well be the voice of cricket. BCCI is the invoice. We would like to see a more proactive, we would like to see a more eloquent and a more constructive BCCI in world matters. It is, of course, a democratically elected body, and we are fine with that. But it keeps the doors very closed, so that none of us actually know what is happening behind those doors. It obviously is going to miss Raj Singh, and so are we. Raj Singh, in many ways, could have served a purpose if he was fit, and obviously if he was alive. I don't want to keep this too long, but I just want to say that to Jaideep, that you've done a wonderful thing here. That having gathered us all together in his memory, it has made it both a sad and a very happy occasion for us. Raj Singh played his cricket, looked at cricket as a beautiful game. Now he is no longer with us. I think it's up to his friends to continue to much the same. Raj would have played his cricket, as indeed he did, fairly, justly, and with a pinch of humor. In his days and at times, he was captain of Rajasthan, captain of Central Zone, the inaugural president of the NAC, president of the CCI, president of BCCI. Not much that he wasn't. We shall miss him, and we look forward very much to talking about him in our memories and again amongst our friends. Thank you.